she sees blood. So we say that blood is from the night, the blood is still coming. But if she has relations and she doesn't see any blood, and then she sees blood sometime later, so we say already that blood is Tameya. If a night passed, she didn't have relations, but she sees blood, then she's also Tameya. Because there was no relations. Why is she bleeding?
Because the wound is still healing. That's where the 4 nights comes from.
Right. But it must be that it wouldn't extend from one night to the next night in bleeding. I don't know.
Yeah, a wound normally, the blood coagulates, it stops bleeding. If you traumatize it, then you open the wound again. So if she had no more bleeding, so that means... she's broken the hymen.
It could be a wound. There's tissue there.
That's what the assumption is.
If the color of the blood changes, then she's Tameya. The color changes. Because it would be assumed that there's a difference between a wound and Dam Nidda. Right? That would be a different color. Must have Rabbi Yomi. Rabbi Yomi has a question. We said that a basula, a virgin, she doesn't need to examine. She doesn't need to do an examination. We said chutz, except for a basula, for a virgin, she doesn't need to do an examination. 1 second. She should do examination. Maybe the color of the blood has changed, and then it would be the other blood, according to this, what we just said. So, this is the statement from Rav Gidl Amar Shmuel. A question on Rav Gidl Amar Shmuel. Amar Rava. Rava says, Eima Reisha chutz min hanida vayesheves al dam tar hudalei bai bedika. Abel basula shedemei atayrim bai bedika. Rava says we should say chutz min hanida in the Reisha. We said vayesheves al dam tar. That's who doesn't need a bedika. But a basula, if you look at it carefully, it says, the Mishnah says, you see, when we read the Mishnah, we weren't medayak in what it doesn't say. It says, who is exempt from doing a bedika? We said a woman that's a nida, in yesheves al dam toyar. Who's it leaving out? It doesn't say a basula. Then it says that they need to do an examination before relations, and over there it leaves out the basula. But in the Reisha, it leaves out, over there it says the basula doesn't need. But in the Reisha, it sounds like the basula does need to do an examination. So Rabbi introduces that he's doing like a diak. He's doing a diak on the Reisha. The problem is the Seifik says clearly not. But meanwhile, he's doing a diak on the Reisha that says a virgin that her blood is pure, she doesn't need to do a bedika. Why? Because maybe it changed. Okay, very good. It fits with Rav Gidl Amar Shmuel. The Gemara says 1 second, alakash nadadi, but then you just your diak in the Reisha contradicts the Sefer. Your, how do you translate diak? Your inference.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the Mishnah contradicts the inference from the end of the Mishnah. So the Gemara answers kansha shimsha de'ima shemesh akran kansha le shimsha. There's a big difference. We're assuming there's a possibility that if she had relations, the term here for relations is shimsha. So the term for the male organ is shemesh. Shimsha means relations, and shemesh is the male organ. So the Gemara is suggesting that if she had relations, then if the blood color changes, you can say that the shemesh, the man, changed the color, maybe because of the pressure on her, changed the color of the blood, but not but it's not, the fact that the color changes doesn't mean that the blood is coming from a different place. Achran means like spoiled it. Achran
means spoiled.
Like spoiled. Shemesh akran, like akran means like made it bad. Yeah, oiker is to blacken or something.
No?
Yeah. Tanya Nami Hachi was also taught in a Braisa. When do we say that she's still tar? That's if she's still seeing blood every time she has relations. Verasa shlei machmas tashmis, even though she sees not machmas tashmis, but every time she has relations, she's still seeing. Aval pascha machmas tashmis, but if she stops seeing blood during the relations, verasa, and then she sees blood, then tmeya. Aval layla achas lay tashmis, or if a night passes without tashmis verasa, and she sees blood, she's tmeya. Nishtana maradam shla tmeya. She's also, even if the color changes, she's tummy. That's a proof. That Bais is a proof to Rav Gidel Amishmal. Pam hitricha chulam. She has to do an examination twice by day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and also before relations. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, Leishanu ala taharais. When do we say that she needs to do the examination in the morning, and that's only for taharis, aval labayla mutaris, but she's permitted to her husband without bedika. The Gemara says pshita. One second. When it says that she has to do a bedika by day, this Mishnah was taught that she has to do a bedika by day. That's only for taharis, but it's not referring to if she's going to be with her husband. She can be with her husband even without an examination. The Gemara says, I don't need Rabbi Yehuda or Shmuel to say that. When the Mishnah says shachris, obviously it's not talking about relations, because relations are not allowed during the day. It's only at night for relations. To make it dark. Yeah, it says, Rashi actually asks that. Rashi says, what about, it says that Talmud Chacham, it says Mapil Betalise, which means someone that would be very modest. Did I see that? Someone that would be very modest. I think I saw that. Someone that would be very modest is allowed to make it dark and make the room dark. But it says that would be very uncommon. And so therefore the Mishnah would be talking about the common case, which would be at night, and that's okay. Rather, we have to give the statement of Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel on the Seifa. It says, which type of woman needs to do an examination before relations? Only a woman that also is involved with taris. However, because since, or just as, she has to do an examination when she touches her food, she has to do an examination for her husband as well. So that would be logical. If we're suspecting that there's blood, and we're going to be strict about her food for tumah, it would make sense that we should be strict about the main law, which is for her husband. So, avaleina sukkah b'taras, but a woman that doesn't have that meticulous, that strictness, that where she needs to do an examination when she touches her food, so she doesn't need to do an examination. So, she doesn't need an examination for her husband. But the assumption here is we're dealing with a woman that doesn't have a vest kavua. And she still, when she's with her husband, she doesn't need to do a bedika. Micah Mashmal in the Gemara says, what's your chiddush? Tanina. We learned in the Mishnah. It says all women that aren't involved in taras are automatically, if there was no blood, they're mutter to their husbands. The Gemara says, no. That Mishnah doesn't tell me anything. Our Mishnah is telling me much more. That Mishnah would have said, that's a woman, when it says, Kol Anashim are mutter to the husband. That's only talking about a woman that has a vesses kavua. So if it's not her vesses kavua, so then she's going to be mutter. Avalisha she'ein la vesses, but a woman that doesn't have a vesses kavua, how do you know when the blood's going to come? Boy, bedik, she's going to need to do a bedik. The Gemara says, 1 second. If you look at our Mishnah is telling me that an isha she'ein la vesses, a woman that doesn't have a vesses, is still mutter for her husband without any bedika. The problem is, if you read the beginning of the Mishnah, it says, Afapisha amru daya shaita. even though we said that this woman is dayashaita, only tummy from then and on, what type of woman is that? You have no heter for a woman that doesn't have a clear calendar. Our Mishnah is not talking about that. Our Mishnah is talking about a woman that has a vest. Where it says, 1 second. Because of the way the Mishnah opens up. It says, the Gemara says no. Masnisin bein sheyesh lavesas, bein ein lavesas. The Mishnah is actually talking about both. V'hakamash malan. But the chiddush of the Mishnah is the afagav diyesh lavesas, that even though she has a vesas, we say dayashaita. But migu the boy bedika lataris by nami bedika labayla. You see, we're using both sides of this Mishnah. Both. We're using every opportunity here to get in every halacha. We're saying the Mishnah is talking about both a woman that has a vesas and a woman that doesn't have a vesas. And we're saying that we have a chiddush of the woman that has a vesas, that even though she has a vesas, she still needs to do a bedika when she's involved in taras. And a woman that doesn't have a vesas doesn't even need to do a bedika for her husband. The Gemara says, "V'amar Shmuel chadazimna." Shmuel already said this. Damar Rab Zera Amar Rababa bar Yirmiyah Amar Shmuel. Rab Zera says the name of Rababa bar Yirmiyah and the name of Shmuel. Isha shein lavesas asura l'shamish ad shetivdek. She's not allowed to have relations until she does a bedika. V'ukimna basuka b'taras. And we established that was talking about a woman that also is involved in taras, and that's why she migu. Just as she needs a bedika for taras, she needs a bedika for her husband. Gemara says, "Chadam mechlal chavertit mar." We learned one from another. Don't ask a question that we said this already once. One was implied from the other one. So, Tanya Nami Hachi was also taught in a Braisa. When do we say that she needs to do bedika? That's only for taras, but for her husband she's mutter. Let's say he was going on a trip. He comes back. So, until she tells him that I went to the mikveh, so she's considered tamei. She has to state that she went to the mikveh. Okay. Rab Zera asks Rabbi Yehuda. Isha, this question is like this. Rab Zera started off in Bavel, and then he went to Eretz Yisrael. He was the one that fasted. I think he was also the one that didn't tell Rabbi Yehuda that he was going, because Rabbi Yehuda held that you're not allowed to leave Bavel. Just like we say, like you can't leave Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, he left without saying goodbye. So, Rabbi Yehuda held that Bavel had a certain significance, that we were sent there and they needed to stay there. Anyway, Rab Zera goes to Eretz Yisrael. But first, before that, he asks Rabbi Yehuda, let's say a woman wants to be strict. Should she do an extra bedika before they have relations? Amalei, he said, leitivdik. Don't. So let her be strict. What's the big deal? He says no. That possibility that she's arousing, she's saying, I may be tamei, that is going to put fear into the husband's heart, and he's not going to want to have relations. Boy, mine Rababa me Rav Huna. Rababa asks a question from Rav Huna. A man that has relations with a woman that's a nida has to bring a chatas. It's a sin. So she should do an examination immediately, right after the relations, so that she should ascertain if a sin was committed. Maybe if she examines very quick, right away, right after the relations, she'll be able to figure out if there was blood at that time, and then she has to know if he has to bring a chatas. Says it's impossible to do a bedika that quick. As he comes out, the cloth goes inside. It's impossible to do it that quick that he's going to be chayav achatas. V'hatanya is a sheer vest. What is a sheer vest? Mashal l'shamash ve'ed shem d'mitzad ha'mashkev. V'tzias ha'shamash nichnas eid havi vesas. No. Nichnas eid. How does it go? Havi vesas. Nichnas eid. Nichnas eid. Good. Which means that how quick can it come, the vesas? It can come from the amount of time it takes when the man exits her for the amount of time for the cloth to go inside. That's already the amount of time it takes for the blood to come. So it's impossible for her to be able to get the cloth in quicker than that. And so therefore, he's anyways not going to have to bring a chatas, because it could be a came right afterwards. We say, no, we're talking about not an actual internal examination, we're talking about just the external cleaning. So his question is, what should she do a kinuach? Kinuach just means wipe, an external wiping, to make sure that he doesn't have to bring. Some say that this was the question. See, it's an asham tali. Chatas means that it was definitely a sin. Asham tali means it could have been a sin. Remember? Asham tali, if there were two pieces, chaylev and meat. So it could be because it came later, maybe he should have to bring an asham tali. She also brings, but we're asking about him. Amar Lai, he answers, Lei tivdik. Rav Yehuda, it's not Rav Yehuda, it's Rav Huna. Rav Huna says, don't do a bedika. Says, v'tivdik ma b'kach, what's the big deal? Says, him ken li b'neik v'pirish. This is very interesting, because the bedika is done afterwards. He's going to, even if the bedika is done afterwards, he's going to refrain from having relations with her again. He's going to think that maybe the reason why she's doing the bedika is because she felt something. And so he's like, "Oy vey, this is too scary." He doesn't want to commit a sin. Okay, we have to stop. This was today's blot.
We finish.
We finish.
So what, today we were supposed to finish?
Tomorrow we start with Bishah Shehiyah Beret.
Thank you guys.